Hi, everybody. Today I want to do a quick book review on a book that I've recently finished. And the book's name is Open by Andre Agassi. So it's his autobiography. So just a quick background on the kind of types of books that I read is I've got three categories of books. I've got technical books, self-improvement, maybe leadership or self-help books, which help me to just become better at what I do and just think different about the world. And then on the other side, I've got some storybooks that I read. I run a lot, long distance, so I listen to these books while I run, which is nice just to switch off and listen to the books. I will not do a lot of those reviews on this platform, but the third category are these biographies and autobiographies. And my philosophy behind that is, and I've read a lot of these books. My philosophy behind these are that it helps me to just take some stuff that other people went through to learn. So you can get quite depressive if you listen to all these very successful people. And for a long time, I read these books and I thought, yeah, it doesn't make me feel better about myself. I mean, that's why I read the books, because I want to feel better about myself. But it actually makes me feel more, worse about myself because of all these great stuff that these people have done. So what I've said to myself, or the philosophy that I take from now on is that, or from then on, is that I want to learn from these people. If I can take only one or two things out of these books that I can apply in my life and just maybe become a bit better or a bit more successful, or just think differently about the world, then it's worth listening to these books. So I don't like reading a lot of. Normally, I read more like business books or entrepreneurship books or those kinds of stuff. But so a few weeks ago, one of my friends says, "No, I must listen to this book of Andre Agassi." And so I don't listen to a lot of sports books. I don't know why. I don't like. I don't know. I don't like the whole sport environment that much, or the let's call it the autobiographies of the sports celebrities. But they said this is a really nice one and I should read this. And I'm actually very, very glad to have read this one. Because there's so much I could take from this book. The sort of the premise of the book is that Andre Agassi he thinks he's different. So he had this dad who sort of forced tennis on him. And there's this one story where you have to hit 1,000 balls a day from a machine. And he said it was so tiresome. He said his dad said if he can hit 1,000 balls a day, and he does the calculations, it's about 1,000,000 balls a year, which he says then the dad says if you hit 1,000,000 balls a year, then you will be a professional and then no one can beat you. And it's actually quite funny because it actually happened. But how he hated tennis from the first day, from those days where he was playing tennis, he was hitting these balls, this 1,000 balls a day. And, he said there were so many balls on the court that he couldn't move around anymore because there's just too much balls. And his dad will take a leaf blower and from the side start blowing away the ball. So Andre can just keep on hitting the balls. And so sort of from then, when he was very small, he had this very negative connection towards tennis. And the whole sort of, like I said, the premise behind the book is how he hated tennis. And it's very interesting because at the end, his dad also says, he must stop playing because he hates tennis. And I've got three kids who loves playing tennis. And, I love watching them play sport and I love watching them enjoying sport, but it's actually not nice to see them suffer like that because it's a one-to-one game. It's a very, very emotional game. And he goes through almost every important game that he played in his career throughout the book. It's so interesting just to think about, yes, there's a lot of physical, constraints, physical things that you must think about, physical, dominance that you must have over your component and also technique. But a lot of this stuff is really to do with the mental stability that you need to have and the way of beating your opponent mentally. So that's quite nice to take this out of the book. And I really appreciate those. So that's sort of the one part of it, how he sort of didn't like playing tennis. He didn't like tennis, although he was really, really good at it. The other thing that I also take out of this book is the fact that, he thought himself to be different. He wanted to be different, but more to hide away than anything else. And how interesting that became part of him and a part of his life is that if you just look at the old photos and the way, he played in Nike jeans tennis. So he just wanted to be not different. Everybody thought he wanted to be different. And that's sort of what I want to get to this is everybody thought he wanted to be different, but he was actually just hiding from who he really was inside. And sort of the picture that got out there was, listen, this is this rebel that just wants to be different, but he's a very, very kind heart, and he's very, he's actually a very solid person, although he wanted to hide from who he was. And I think from that, I've read that, or take out of this, that you need to be yourself in whatever you do. And sometimes it's difficult, and sometimes it's interpreted wrong if you are who you are, or you are yourself. But just the consistency and sort of the freedom that he got when he sort of, because he was getting bald. So he had actually played for a long time. He played with a wig tennis. Can you believe that? And when his wife said, no, cut your hair and shave your hair and just play who you are, the freedom that he got from doing that is really nice. That's something that I took out of the book as well. So there's two phrases that I just want to take out of this. And I like just taking some nuggets out of a book like this to take with me. And one is he said that I'm reminded how slight the margin can be on the tennis court, how narrow the space between greatness and mediocrity, fame and anonymity, happiness and despair. And I'm so reminded of that every day, that you want to be great, you want to do great things, you want to be remembered. But you never really know what's going to be the thing that's going to inspire people so much, or small things, small decisions that you can make that can have a huge difference on who you are and where you go and what you are remembered for. So this was a really inspirational quote for me. Then the second one, it says, just like tennis, the same court on which you suffer your bloodiest defeat can become the scene of your sweetest triumph. And I think if we are in business, if we are in even in projects and project management, you feel defeated in certain areas and certain things that you do, and you sort of get the negative connection towards certain, maybe even aspects of yourself. But what's nice about this is he said it's the same court where he was sort of thrashed in one sort of final or semi-final in the Wimbledon. Where he sort of win the first person who win like 4 or 5 Grand Slams in a row or something like that. And you never know when that moment's going to be. So you can just keep on going. You have to keep on going because you can't let one, let's say, event in your past influence the total events in your future. So that's quite nice. Good. So yeah, I would definitely say go and read this book. It's got a very, very nice kink at the end, which I'm not going to give away if you haven't read the book. But so go and read the book. It is inspirational. It's not that long. It's an easy read. It's like I said, I've done the Audible version of this, and it's so nice that it's like Andre is speaking in your ears about this process that he goes through, and the journey and the growth that he goes through in his life, and the sort of the records that he breaks. Not necessarily because it was goals, but because he was just so good. It was just at the right time, and he had the talent, and he had everything, and how he sort of managed to love the thing that he actually hated the most in his life. So if you are looking for some good nugget of inspiration, go and read the book Open by Andre Agassi. So hopefully you've taken something out of that, and I'm looking forward to see you again in one of these book reviews. Cool, man. Thanks. Bye-bye.